What's going on, good people? It's your boy James Harris. Today we're going to talk about anxiety and depression. What do you know about them? Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your boy James Harris, founder of a movement called Mental Health, which focuses on men's overall wellness, their mental health, as well as their physical health. And I'm also an author of a book called Man Just Express Yourself, which is an interactive planner guide for boys, men to better express themselves. I definitely appreciate my parents who went out and bought this copy of the book for their teenagers, their sons. They're pretty much grown with this too. I like the feedback. Special salute to my fellow colleagues, therapists. Everybody within that mental health space who do this as a conversation starter or use it as interventions, I definitely appreciate you. And I can't forget about my partners, my spouses out there who got this book and doing these exercises over a date night and game night or just basic conversation to allow your partner to have that safe space. Appreciate you. So if you're interested in getting the book, hit my website, mentoheal.com, mentoheal.com, or Barnes& Nobles, Target, Walmart, pretty much anywhere books are sold. So be sure to like, share, subscribe to this channel. Submit me your questions if you have them, and we can go from there. So today, again, we're talking about the relationship between anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression, they share pretty much a lot of the biological basis. Depression and anxiety are different conditions, but they commonly can happen simultaneously in some cases, depending on the person, depending on the lifestyle, depending on what happened. In so many cases, these things are treated similar in some cases by not only the person viewing it or just randomly saying, oh man, I got anxiety and depression, not knowing pretty much what they both are, but they, I guess it's trendy to say that. So low serotonin levels, of course, play a part in the role in both, along with different brain chemicals and brain functions such as your dopamines or your epinephrine. Those things can different stabilize your mood differently. You can become anxious, you can become depressed. But again, yes, those two can co-occur or coexist at the same time within the person. But there are some mental differences. Anxiety is pretty much what people have, that worry about the immediate or the long-term future. And sometimes people have these uncontrollable racing thoughts about something going wrong. Although nothing may go wrong, they just think something may go wrong. So those constant worries. These people try to avoid certain stimuli situations that can cause them to feel anxious or, just have these feelings of becoming consumed by their thoughts. Some people with anxiety also think about death just reoccurring, that fear of death due to a perceived danger, physical harm, or anticipating the dangerous situation or outcome. Again, just constant thoughts, the lack of sleep, just up in the middle of the night, just having random thoughts. Depending on the nature of the anxiety, these mental markers can also vary from what we call general anxiety disorder, may worry about a variety of topics. Nothing specific, just thoughts of that, thoughts of that, just thoughts of that, just all over the place with your thoughts. And a person can also have social anxiety disorder, on the other hand, which is a fear of navigating, elevating, or rejection by others. That social relationship is not there because you think people are judging you. You're a little bit apprehensive about meeting new people, going to different social settings and stuff like that because, you think it's all eyes on you. You think you're going to be critiqued or criticized and stuff like that. And also people have this obsession or unrealistic thoughts or mental impulses, sometimes the magical quality within anxiety. These things are definitely important for you to be able to recognize. So these anxious thoughts extend beyond your day. Like the worry goes beyond like the immediate. So that's when the OCD comes, the obsessive compulsive disorder. Just these markers of anxious, like people just constantly being anxious, like overly excessive with that worry. When we talking about the markers and things like that, as far as depression, we talking about when somebody feels helpless or hopeless, assuming that nothing positive will happen in the future for them. the world would be better without them, the family would be better without them, believe it's not worth trying. People feel differently because they feel, again, like that hopelessness, lack of interest and pleasure, suicidal thoughts about self-harming. People with depression also feel, worthless, as if they don't have any value to their life, not worrying about the love that they get from the kids or their partner or the coworkers or the team, just overly feeling down and defeated in most of the times. And these people also think about death as well, due to a persistent belief that life is not worth living, and they're a burden to other people. People with depression often thinks that they are a burden to other people. So moderate to severe depression, in most cases, can have those suicidal thoughts. So again, those can be in both anxiety and depression. So it is some overlap again there that we spoke about earlier. But there are also physical differences. Both anxiety or depression can be exhausting. Like it can be just overly tired because you're in a physical state of worry and being overwhelmed with your heightened arousal. Those things are definitely important. So when you have difficulty concentrating due to a state of agitation or racist thoughts, those things can happen. Difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep. Again, those racing thoughts are consuming you throughout. You're tossing and turning at night. You're thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow. You're thinking about a meeting next week. You're thinking about a vacation. You're thinking about your partner, what they doing or what they not doing. Just so many different things. Also, dizziness, gastrointestinal issues a lot of people don't associate with. So we're talking about nausea, diarrhea, even constipation. Like that can be a part of the overlap between anxiety and depression. Heart rate, blood pressure, increased sweating, those muscle tension, shortness of breath. All those things can be signs and symptoms of anxiety and depression. But to be real with you, depression is the primary characteristic, changes in usual physical process from like the baseline lower level. So the people with depression, they often have difficulty concentrating, focus, poor memory, whether that's the short-term memory or long-term memory. Sometimes it's like those ruminating thoughts. That can be one of the physical symptoms too. And another physical symptoms within the depression side is a lack of energy, like just down and don't really want to do nothing. And with depression, you have a lack of appetite, or you can have a significant increase in appetite. So it all depends on which side of the spectrum you fall on. Moving or talking to more slower than usual, like just being, so depression can also lead to you having physical aches and pains and stuff like that, sleeping much or more or less than you usually do, which again can be a sign of both. So when these symptoms become severe, you definitely want to get them checked out. It's not unusual to experience brief periods of low moods or some type of anxiety, but you definitely don't want to have it going beyond a certain point. We all have different things within our life, different stressors, whether it's work, this COVID situation now, of course, so many mass murders in the news, so many unjust killings in the news at the hand of law enforcement. So it's definitely some things to be worried or stressed about. But once you start to overly stress and overly worry, that's when it can become detrimental, not only to you, but of course to your loved ones. Speaking of loved ones, you can think about losing a loved one. That can trigger your anxiety or your depression. Receive a diagnosis of like a physical illness that can increase your worry and your depression. Like if somebody says, "Oh, now you got cancer," or you got another terminal illness and stuff like that. Anxiety and depression can happen if you start a new job or you move different neighborhood. I know for the younger people, they going back to school, so that can increase that anxiety or just that racing thoughts. And a lot of adults, not being able to work last year due to COVID or just switching jobs or not being able to get the PPP loan or whatever the case is. So experiencing financial problems can also increase your worry as well as your depression. But yes, like everything, there are treatment options. So you definitely want to get treated. Come see me, holler at me. I'll send you somebody or I'll treat you myself if I can, if I have the capacity. And another way that you can do that is CBT. So cognitive behavior therapy is probably what myself or a fellow therapist would do. Stress management exercise, different techniques on deep breathing, proper nutrition, proper sleep. If you go see a psychiatrist, they'll probably prescribe you some medication. But if you are one to do it without therapy or without medication, of course, you can join a support group. NAMI.com or NAMI.org has so many different support groups. Just put in your zip code. You can get it in your direct geographical location. That's NAMI.org. Try to relax, meditation, deep breathing, grounding exercises, journaling, writing, running around your neighborhood, doing exercises in place, talking with friends or family. A strong support system is definitely beneficial. Explain how they can be helpful to you, because you don't want to become irritable to those people who want to help you. And of course, again, go see a therapist. We can provide you with self-help material. We can provide you with different tools and interventions, mood charts, elevate. We can do so many different things to assist you in your journey of overcoming anxious thoughts and depression. So hit somebody up. Don't just be in your head. Get out your own way. Again, anxiety and depression is definitely has a cause or lower stimuli. So just having thoughts or just having the blues, feeling down, is normal. People experience that. But once it lingers for a certain period of time, it can become detrimental not only to your health, but of course your physical health as well as your mental health. So leave me a comment, like, share, subscribe. I definitely appreciate you checking me out. Catch me on the next one.